Hey, there we go. Wednesday, February 27th, and my screen is frozen, so it's going to be me awkwardly talking for just a moment.
Yay!
There we go. Greek mythology, getting into more of our stories, turning in book reports, kids freaking out. If you're at home watching this and you are turning your book report in tomorrow, it's late because it was due today. In order for it not to be late, you have to bring a note from a parent saying it was done before today. Without the note, it counts as a late project. Because if not, why would it not? Because kids skip class to work on it. Not really fair. So, welcome to your late project. Now, let's see. Today, or Camp Tecumseh, we covered those kids. I'm going to start making groups next week. So, if you still owe stuff, it's going to start impacting things. Now, to you guys. We started with Fatal last time. So, I'm going to do the quick version of it to make sure all the knowledge is still in your head. Yes, I'm aware we've already done it. That's what makes this the quick version. So with Fatal, let's go with what gods do we get Fatal from?
The Fates.
How many were there?
3.
What gender were they?
Female.
Nicely done. What job did the first sister have?
I have no idea. Something. They did something.
She made the string. Second sister?
Measured.
Measured it. Third sister?
Cut it.
Nicely done. When she cut the string, what happened to a person?
Born.
That's when they were born, not when they died. That's what brought them into this world. And let's see, then we had the fact that even the gods had really long strings. Oh, if you're in an accident, and it is a fatal accident, what happens to you?
You died.
And that is where the dying comes in. And so fatal means death or dying, correct. But he has his blue stuff out, so it's alright, so we wouldn't have to yell at him for that. Is it in your locker?
No.
Need to buy new ones?
Yeah.
Alright, I already have them out for you right over there.
Whoa, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. One of us had to be prepared. Silly kid.
Are these copies do they need to be copied again?
Nope.
Okay.
And you are at 10 points, just so you know. Then, let's see, we got to Iris. And what god do we get Iris from?
Iris.
Let's see, with Iris, who did Iris work for?
Hera.
What was her official job? Messenger.
Snitch.
What was her other job?
Snitch.
That was the finding Zeus and snitching. Let's see. When she came down to Earth, how would humans know?
Rainbow.
She would leave the little rainbow trail behind her. What are the two definitions of Iris?
Flower.
Colored by flower. Your eyeball.
So the colored part of your eyeball, and then there's also a type of flower. And then, let's see, we did the whole iris and the whole finding and this stuff in there, so good. Then we got to muses. Museum. Museum comes from?
Muses.
And then how many muses were there?
3.
3.
No, like 9.
9. Which is like 3, but 3 times is good. So we had a total of 9 muses. Did we get to talk much about the muses?
No. We need to the bell ring in the video.
So then, with the muses, you have to wait for the end of the class. We'll get it to you from there. So now you have the blue sheet, the white sheet, and then join along. We'll get you hooked up from there. With the muses, there were 9 of them. And so the way the Greeks believed it is essentially humans were made from animated mud. We'll get to that story in like a week or so, that they made squishes out of literal mud, sprinkled fairy dust on us, and came to life like Pinocchios. Because of that, we have no artistic ability. It was thought that as a human, if you tried to paint something and you would just slap the paintbrush again, like, I some paint's over it, but nothing would actually happen. The only way we actually have humans create wonderful works of art is by charging kids points for being on an iPad during class. And it brings them all kinds of wonderful things. It means they've now spent 12 for the week. So then you would have to do, the only way for a human to do some kind of wonderful artwork was through the use of the muses. And what the muses would do is basically they would, like a ghost, it would possess you. And so if you were stepping up to like your little artistry thing and you have your paintbrush in your hand, you're like, what am I going to paint? If the muse deemed you worthy, it would fly in like Slimer from Ghostbusters, that green ghost thing. And basically, as you get ready to paint, it's like, and it'd fly into you, like, and you'd paint some beautiful, wonderful thing. And then when the muse was done, it would step back out of you, leaving like a little muse Slimer slime inside of you. And as long as you had that slime residue on you, you would continue to be able to do this wonderful artwork, whatever it might be, painting or dancing or writing, all because of this wonderful muse. Eventually, that slime would wear off, and you'd go back to not being able to be very good at things, and you'd pray for the muses to come and inspire you again. And that's they explain things like writer's block or something like that, was because a muse had been in you and then had left. And so you have to wait for the muse to inspire you again, which is why there's a band called Muse, because it's their way of saying that, we're inspired by the gods. Or if you're a dude and you're trying to talk to a girl, you always like, hey, you're my muse, which means they inspire you to do all kinds of wonderful things. And basically, beautiful artwork comes from them. Oh, Mr. Bogart, that's kind of creepy. Well, welcome to guys. So,
I've got a brother I know.
Hashtag not news. So music, by definition, music is sound created by the muses. Anytime you hear something beautiful, you're not thinking, oh, a human did that. The thought is, a muse did that. So that is why it was called music. The Greek breakdown of that is ik, meaning sound, and the muse, meaning a muse, so it just meant sound from the muses. A museum is a collection of art. But that art was not made by humans. That art was made by
Muses.
everything in that museum was thought to be created by them. So once again, the Latin breakdown means a building full of muses, or the things created by them. That's where we get the museum from. Next up, June. Where do we get that from?
The month.
June.
Coons.
Is it Hera?
Why would you say Hera?
I don't know. I just said Hera.
Well, that is a strong argument. Hard to go
It
against that.
says Juno or whatever.
It does. What's she the god of?
Marriage and childbirth.
Marriage and child. Oh, that's pathetic.
What?
Shade
No,
throne.
it's not.
Yeah,
You are
Hera,
correct.
stop.
Hera, her Roman name Juno, Juno. She is the one over here above where Jeremiah is. She's in pink, sitting on a throne that is a peacock on her head.
Love that.
There's a story behind it.
No, what?
Over here behind where we have Uber, she's once again sitting in a throne, and that is once again a peacock behind her. At least it's not on her head. Over here, once again, this is Hera sitting next to Zeus, and that is a peacock behind her. Is there a peacock? Yeah, the peacock is connected to her. And there's a story about it that we'll get to it on another day. But Hera was known as a couple things. One, Mrs. Zeus. Was basically her claim to fame was the fact that she was married to the king of the gods. She was also known as the queen of the gods because she was married to Zeus. And so basically it goes back and connects him in a lot of ways. She was also the god of children and childbirth and the god of marriage. And irony, because it was ironic that she is the god of marriage and childbirth. Baby steps. God of marriage. Why would that be ironic?
Because her husband's a cheater.
Husband.
Her husband is very friendly with other people. She had one of the worst marriages in all of Greek mythology, where her husband was known for being friendly with other people and then yelling during class to get rid of all those extra points they felt they had.
I don't have.
No. Choices we. And so because of that, they decided to make her the god of marriage, which was rather ironic that she has the worst marriage and is the god of marriage. And then the god of childbirth and the god of babies, also ironic, not because she doesn't have children. She had 4, 2 girls and 2 boys.
What do they mean?
Yes,
Didn't she kill like one of
a
them?
lot. Not one, lots. Most of our stories are going to involve her killing babies. Or trying to kill babies and failing. The reason being, she had 4 children. Her husband had 1,000 children. Mr. Brovic, that's not... right. And so she spent most of her time trying to hunt down these children and kill them. Much like, imagine her hunting those babies like children hunt for Easter eggs on Easter morning. And she was going around and trying to find them. But instead of finding chocolate inside, she found death. Because she was not a very happy person. And so once again, ironic, making her the god of childbirth and babies when she spends most of her time hating children and babies and stuff like that.
Ooh,
Speaking of why June is connected to her, being the god of marriage. Anytime that a woman wanted to get married, you don't want to get married when it's going to be wet out, so like early spring when it's all rainy, not a good time during rainy season. You also don't want to wait until it gets too hot out, because then all the people wearing their dresses and their suits and stuff like that get all baking hot and sweaty, and you don't want to have stinky people at your wedding. So there was this perfect area in between of rainy season and hot, sweaty pit season, and so that in between those was known as the time of Juno, because you would honor the god of marriage by getting married during that time. Eventually, the time of Juno was just shortened down to June, because that is known as the month of marriage. Even today, it is the month of marriage. More weddings happen in the month of June than the other 11 months combined. It is that level of crazy.
I would never get married in June.
I don't think that Zeus had kids. It was his friends that had.
True, I mean, well, actually, we're going to find out he does have one baby.
Yeah.
Which is two babies. Sorry. He does have two babies. Athena's one, and then he has another one that we'll get to here in a moment too. That covers June. Next up, mind. And where are we going to get mind from?
Wait, what's the
Lion.
You're the one that knows all this.
Maybe Prometheus.
Why Prometheus?
Because he was the smartest one.
He was the smartest guy, but not from him. It actually comes from one that comes after him. But a solid guess and thinking. Oops. Why Athena? And what is she the god of? Is correct. We actually get it from Athena, which once again is ironic that Lion got that wrong, because where's her poster? Right above. Irony! And so once again here, she was the god of intelligence and wisdom. She was also the god of weaving, because apparently that was really important. And also one of the two gods of war. Because who's the other god of war? Which we'll talk about in a second. She is the one in the brown poster here. She's not a midget. It's just really bad artwork. It's supposed to look like the horse is really close and she's really far away and she's pulling the horse backwards. Is a horse important to her story? Nope. I have no idea why they put a horse on there, but apparently it made them happy. Over here, it's above for where, between kicks and tie. She's the one in that one. She has the owl with her, which was connected to her. And that is Medusa on her shield, which is connected to her. And then over here, this is her again in the armor and with a shield and the owl. And we'll get to that one too. She was one of the two gods of war. The other god of war, being the guy that's right over here, Ares. He's Ares there. Also, Ares is the one looking all hunky right there. Ares is the one that's supposed to look hunky there, but looks kind of goobery. The reason the Greeks had two gods of war referred to a couple reasons. One, they really liked war. To them, fighting was important. We didn't have Netflix yet, so if you had to entertain yourself, punching other people was way up there. And then two different types of war. Ares was the god of wussy war. If you wanted to win, but didn't care how you won, you would pray to Ares. If you were getting into a fight and you brought like a handful of sand with you, and when the other person stepped up, you threw the sand in their face, and when they couldn't see, you ran up and kicked them in the jimmy. And then when they fell down, you took a chair and smashed it over their head. And then when they were on the ground, like you got in your car and ran over them, you would then pray to Ares. You're like, I don't care how I win, but you're going down. Then that was who you would pray to. Athena was considered honorable war, or wise war. The idea of using strategy, and you're going to try and figure out how to win by putting the better person against the other one and trying to put the best person forward. And so they realized there's two different types of fighters. The I don't care as long as you hit the ground, and the I'm going to prove I'm better than you. So they had two different types of fighting from there. She was also a god of wisdom, which leads us to our story for today.
Awesome
I
segue.
try to sprinkle in from here on out at least one good story per day in Greek mythology, because it turns out in Greek mythology there's 1,000 of them, so we have time. So with this one, goes all the way back to Zeus and his early marriage. He had recently overthrown his father and had taken over control of everything, found his hottest sister to marry, that would be Hera. And so they were recently together. If that bothers you, we've got a long thing coming up. Because there's a reason why Greece was called Little Kentucky. And so it's all about shots fired. And so
You said that last week also.
No, I know. And we're Little Alabama, but every time kids, right now the kids don't pay attention when I talk, it makes them adorable. Back to Zeus marrying his sister. So he decides to celebrate his new wedding and having a new wife by doing what most guys do. He goes out and gets a girlfriend. And so he goes out and starts dating. What scientists call a side chick. And the way the side chick works is he finds a girl by the name of Minciny. And he starts dating Minciny. But he tells her, hey, we can't let my wife know because, women. And so he's like, so we're going to sort of keep this on the down low. And things go pretty well for quite some time. Till one day, she comes to him, and Mincing walks up to Zeus and goes, Zeusy Poo, that was her nickname for him, Zeusy Poo, I've got great news. And he was like, what's up? She goes, I'm pregnant. And he goes, what's the good news? And she goes, what? And he goes, just kidding. Because now realize there's evidence of his friendliness, which does not go well for him because he could hide things when it was just a side chick and there was no evidence, but now that she's going to be pregnant, things are not going to go well. And I know, your first thought is, well, Mr. Broviak just killed the baby. I'm proud of you for that being your first thought. But that does not work for him. Why can he not kill the baby?
Because it's immortal.
Nice. Not because it's immoral, because he has no qualms with that whatsoever. He would stab babies down the line. But it's the fact that stabbing this baby would no good. You stab the baby, and you have like a baby on a stick. So he's like, that's not going to solve it. He also cannot kill Mincini. And why can he not kill her? Also immortal. Once again, not immoral. He has no problem stabbing things. It's just the fact that stabbing her would do no good. You then have a girlfriend. So he's like, well, I can't kill the baby, and I can't kill her. How am I going to solve this problem?
He swallows
Comes up with a plan. So he goes, oh, you're pregnant. That's wonderful. Let's celebrate. He's like, I knew you'd like it. And he's like, yeah, like it. That's a word for it. Let's go for a picnic. She's like, a picnic? He goes, yes, a picnic. Deep in the woods. Deep, dark woods way in the back. She's like, why the dark part of the woods? He goes, romantic? She's like, oh. He's like, nailed it. She goes, let's go for a picnic in the deep, dark part of the woods. So he builds like a little picnic basket and gets out like little sandwiches and stuff like that and Gatorades, because Gatorade's delicious. And they put this little picnic basket and they go for out in the deep, dark part of the woods. Back there, hidden from anyone being able to see things, he then has their little picnic. Things go wonderfully. Picnic ends. She goes, oh, I've had a wonderful time. He goes, I have too. He goes, wait, I have an idea. She goes, what? He goes, let's play a game. She goes, I love games. He goes, no. She goes, what game? He goes, let's play a game called Who Can Turn into the Smallest Creature. She goes, ooh, how do you play? He goes, you turn into the smallest creature. It's like right in the time. So the Greeks believed that gods could shapeshift, sort of like animorphs, where they could take the form of any animal they wanted to, and they could sort of just shrink down into anything they wanted to. So anytime you saw an animal, it could be a god in disguise. So he goes, let's turn into animals and see who can turn into the smallest one. It'll be a fun little competition. She's like, oh, that sounds like fun. So he goes first and turns into an elephant. And she's like, that's easy. So she turns into a hippopotamus, then he goes into like a moose, and then she goes into an antelope. I almost said cantaloupe. That's not an animal. An antelope. And they keep going into smaller ones from there. And they eventually get to like a dog, and then a cat, and then a raccoon, still laughing and giggling, and do the little slappy thing, slappy. Until they start going down into insect level. And eventually it goes down from like something cockroach to something smaller than a cockroach. Eventually he turns into a fly. When he turns into fly level, he buzzes around her. He's like, buzz, 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 I'm a fly. You'll never beat me. Do you give up? And she thinks about it, and she goes, no, I got it. And she goes, wink, into a gnat, even smaller than his fly. He turns back into human form and sees her flying around. She's like, you'll never beat this. Go ahead and give up. He's like, I've got something better than giving up. She goes, buzz, buzz, what? He goes, this. And grabs her out of the air, takes her, whoop, throws her into his mouth, go, and swallows her, thus trapping her forever inside of his stomach. Mr. Broviak, that's not how food works. I'm aware. But apparently, according to the Greeks, if you swallow a god, they're stuck inside of you forever. And so, dust off his hands, problem solved. Now, she has no more chance of getting free. There's no more evidence. The baby's gone. His wife will never find out. He didn't have to kill anything. He's like, I'm a genius. And he's super excited. Packs up the whole little picnic thing, goes back up. Years go by. No one has any idea what happened. Hera is none the wiser. People would ask, like, what happened to Mincini? He's like, Minsa? Who? It could be anything. I've already forgotten about her. Which is ironic because she was the god of memory, but that's a longer story. And so, eventually, after years and years have gone by, one day, he's walking around on Mount Olympus. And he's walking...
So wait.
Tomorrow, we pick up the rest of our story and find out what happens when you eat people.